In this video, we are going to see the operating system services. The operating system services are the essential functions that an operating system provides to make it easier and safe for users and applications to run the program and manage the resources and interact with the hardware. So here you can just see the picture or the view of the operating system services. So this operating system makes the user as well as the hardware to function, or it makes the program for the users to run, and also manages all the resources, and it interacts with the hardware. So you can just say it acts as an intermediate between the user as well as the hardware. Here, the operating system is the user interface, system calls, and the services together is what operating system. So this user interface is nothing but there are different types of user interfaces. To interact with the user, the methods can be used by GUI or CUI. So it's graphical user interface, or you can use a command lines to interact with the users. Then apart from that, you can also the system call is nothing but the functions which interacts, which makes this user interface to get connected with the services or the programs. And there are many different services which have been provided by the operating system. So this is what the overall view over here. The next, we'll just see what are the different services specifically provided by the operating system. So based on the users, there are some services being provided, and based on the system programs, there are some services which have been provided. So the very first one is user interface. The user interface, program execution, I/O operations, file system manipulation, communication error detection. These are the user-based OS services. So the very first thing is user interface. So as I just told you earlier, this OS acts as an interface. OS acts as an interface uh, between the user as well as the CPU. This OS acts as the interface. So you can just work with the GUI or using UI manner, using graphical user interface, or it can be a command based. You can interact with the user. The user can interact with the programs, with the CPU. The next service is actually program execution. Program execution is nothing but what it does is this operating system, it loads the program, and then it executes the program, and it ends or exits the user programs. Usually the main memory, in the main memory only, the CPU can have access. So the programs, when you try to execute, when you want to execute, usually those programs will be loaded from the secondary memory. It will be loaded to the main memory. So that is the work of the operating system. And in the main memory, if it requires any what from there, if it requires any other IO devices, so that time it just helps. And apart from that, it runs the program. It just sends to the CPU and runs the program. It loads the from the main memory, it loads the program to the CPU, and it runs. So this is what the work of this OS. And the next is IO operations. And so when in the main memory, from the main memory, it loads to the CPU one side, and another one if it is required, if any of the IO device is required. So during that time also, it allows to access the IO devices. So IO operations, if whether it is input operations or it may be output operations, so those operations are also being done using the OS. And the next for the file system manipulation. So what it does is actually file system. So it creates the file, then reads the file, it writes, organizes, and even deletes the file. So for that purpose, basically, it is also being used. And apart from that, you can just see over here, this operating system, it acts as a from the file system. What you can do is you can copy it, you can access the file. And in the meantime, you can also you can write something in the on the file, so that also can be done. And you can maintain the file permissions and attributes, and you can provide the abstraction for different storage devices. So that has also been done in by the OS. The next is communication services. So it supports the interprocess communication. The interprocess communication by using the message passing or by shared memory. So the network communication support is being there, especially the distributed system. The communication service is being done by the OS. And apart from that, the in error detection and handling. So it allows you to detect the hardware and software errors. So it takes appropriate action based on the error it identifies. Then resource allocation. So what it does is the efficient allocation of resources is being done, like a CPU if it is required for CPU, or if you want to store it to the memory or any IO devices if it requires. So whatever resource it may be, the OS it loads the program to those particular resources, or it allows to allocate or to retrieve those resources wherever it is necessary. And the next one is accounting. In accounting, it keeps track. It keeps track of which users, how much they have used the computer resources, like by measuring the CPU time used by each process, and even by logging space. And also it keeps records of some login sessions. All those have been done by OS. And apart from that, the protection security. So this controls access to the resources to ensure the integrity. It prevents unauthorized access, and apart from that, it supports multi-user in a security manner, in a secure manner. It just supports. So these are the different services which have been done. So it prevents unauthorized access also. So these are the different services which have been done. So it acts as an intermediate between the programs and the hardware. the program and execution, or the process and the hardware. So these are different OS services.